with last minute agendas.
You mean at the...
Under the date of the next meeting. Oh.
Ready? Okay. The July meeting of the New Ulm Human Rights Commission is now called to order. We do have a quorum today, so we'll be able to conduct business. Just a reminder of some protocols. Right now, there is nobody online. As soon as someone else comes online, our protocols change. For any votes, we have to do it by roll call. And we ask that if you make a motion, that you introduce yourself. This is Chad Gentz. I move that. Okay, et cetera, et cetera. We've done that before, but just for so we're clear on the issues. Our first order of business then is the approval of the minutes. We have 2 previous meetings to approve. The first one is our regular monthly meeting of July 22nd. Do we have a motion to accept those?
Dan Kolk, I move to approve both. Can I approve?
Sure.
Move to approve both?
Is there a
second
second?
that.
Chad seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Turn to the budget report for the financial report for this year. If you'll notice in our packet, I received a note from Lisa, which tells us that the signs have been subtracted from our budget at this point in time. However, the poster and essay contest checks have been requested but have not shown up on the report. She said that she should have those checks by Wednesday, so so subtract a few hundred maybe from that, and that's where we're at for our budget. Any questions on the budget? If you see, disbursement was made for the signs. That's been our only expense so far this year. Welcome, Tim. Are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. You're the only one online, so.
I see Diane's name, but I don't see her video yet.
Okay. I don't see Diane. Diane, are you on? I see Diane. Diane, are you muted, Diane? Must be muted. Diane is there. Her name is there. Tim, I did review the protocol for online that we have to take any votes by roll call.
Yep.
Okay? So we're over that.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the budget report before we move ahead? Any recommendations or updated on the events committee report for this year's Human Rights Award?
Not as of
No.
yet.
Okay. I imagine we're going to be in for a while yet figuring something out.
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps by August meeting, hopefully we'll know more. And we could figure out some way of, if we can't meet person to person, figure out some way we can do it in a socially distanced arena just to keep life going.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe we can have an online
Yeah. Or even a presentation.
presentation.
here.
We could have just a socially distanced presentation and then have an online event or something. We can maybe coordinate that with the new cat.
Yeah.
How many participants does Zoom allow, do you know?
Zoom depends on your account, but I know I can get up to 250 on Google Meet. Zoom, I think, is 100 right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure we just use Google Meet for
Yeah,
what we do.
I think most accounts of Google Meet or Zoom are 100, so I think we can, and we could check with the city. Nate might have a better idea of what with the what the capability are with their account.
Okay.
Okay, we'll keep that on the agenda for next time then. Are there the Education Committee report? I did sort of report that the poster and essay contest winners will have their checks sent to them and some kind of recognition to them for their awards for this year. So that's should be done by the end of this week. Second, which is not on there, Wendy, you maybe want to take 10.1 underneath there
Sure.
as part of our Education Committee report.
So as we voted on in our last meeting, we are going to partner with the Greater Mankato Diversity Council. The next step then is the Education Committee is going to meet with the Diversity Council and then plan out our initial meetings, which would be meeting with law enforcement, meeting with the town religious leaders, and then also with the third meeting with civic leaders in preparation for getting our larger sessions organized as just kind of more of a personal invite to bring more people to the table. So that's where we're at with that, is the Education Committee will be meeting with the Diversity Council to kind of get that planned out and get those meetings started.
Sounds good.
Any questions on that?
No, when do you anticipate that they'll start?
We were targeting for fall, but
Yeah.
we'll see what.
Right.
And it's, again, it kind of defeats the purpose if we can't, it's, we
Right.
kind of, it's like a discussion
it's a
and a
group-
conversation.
it's a group
And we
event,
can't
yeah.
really do that unless you can get together. So we have to maybe, I don't know, change the way it's gonna look too. I mean,
Mhm.
where there's, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're
You're
working
getting
out the
creative.
details.
Right on.
Our goal would be to start it as soon as possible,
Yeah.
but I don't know when as soon as possible is.
All right, any other questions on that? Moving right along to the current human rights issues. Any, other than the ones we've been dealing with? We mentioned a couple in our last meeting of the Supreme Court decisions, and our local, one of our last meetings dealt with the graffiti incidents. I haven't heard of anything since then. Anybody else?
No.
No, I don't think locally, but I think keeping just our eye on what's going on in Portland and being aware, watching how that evolves.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where we're headed with all that. Okay. Any legislative update?
No, I checked a little bit. I didn't have a lot of time, but no, nothing that I could find.
I don't think there's been much that I've gotten on the.
No.
I think you all get the email updates from the Minnesota Human Rights Commission that Lisa sends out, so that keeps us kind of informed. We need to appoint a new city council liaison, basically to be able to just report back to us if there's anything that comes up of interest to the city from the city council meetings. We've kind of rotated and done it quarterly. The city council meets twice per month, second and fourth Tuesdays, and whenever else.
I can do that again.
Deanna,
Yeah.
okay? That'd be great. Got that, Wendy?
Yep.
Good. And you can either go to their meeting or
YouTube.
watch it online, either one. Okay, item number 10.2 is the formulated response to the systemic racism letter. In our packet, you had the original letter in case anybody didn't have a chance to read it. And which was 7/21/20. And then we drafted a response also in our packet. I don't know how you want to do this. I don't think we need to read the original letter that was sent to the Journal. Well, did you all have a chance to read the response letter, or would you like me to read it?
Would you mind,
Okay.
Larry? I haven't had a chance
Okay.
to read it yet.
To the editor, did racial inequality in our country end with the Civil War? Sadly, no. Consider Jim Crow laws, the KKK, the GI Bill, and the treatment of the Freedom Riders. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and affirmative action mandates minimally improve the racial inequities in our country. However, without changing the cultural norms and practices that still deny people of color equal access to jobs, healthcare, homes, loans, and other opportunities, inequality remains. Denying systemic racism is an example of what D'Angelo calls white fragility, a state in which even a minimum amount of racial stress becomes intolerable for white people, triggering a range of defensive moves. These moves include the outward display of emotions such as anger, fear, and guilt, and behaviors such as argumentation, silence, and leaving the stress-inducing situation. The term systemic racism is only a loaded term to those who deny it exists. In sociological circles, it's accepted as one of four types of racism: structural, institutional, interpersonal, and internalized. Systemic racism is more common than we think. A good resource is found on Ben & Jerry's ice cream site, ironically enough, 7 Ways We Know Systemic Racism is Real. Now, someone told me that the journal doesn't publish links, but I think people would be able to find that just through the title of that. So what can concerned citizens do? Familiarize yourself with the issues. Educate yourself through tools like www.racialequitytools.org. Read books like White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. Begin community conversations on these issues. Request a yard sign from the Human Rights Commission. The HRC, in cooperation with the Greater Diversity Council of Mankato, is currently planning a series of community listening and training sessions. The HRC hopes to see many community members get involved. New Ulm Human Rights Commission.
Very nice.
I like the letter. I gotta be honest. I went back and forth about drafting a response. Part of me was kind of the thought, perhaps answering and going, back and forth. It's kind of like, okay, are we just giving credence to an argument? But I really like the way that this letter is kind of broad in its scope, and it's not simply addressing one person. It is addressing, I think, a larger issue. So very well done. I don't know who wrote it, but
With help.
okay. No, so I like it. Like I said, I wasn't even.
Well, I know when we talked, when Wendy and I talked, we wanted to stress the positive, some positive actions that we can take.
Teachable moment was our,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one question. You mentioned that the journal doesn't like to print websites,
Or web ad.
web
we
addresses.
weren't sure, but
We weren't sure.
we
That's
weren't sure about that.
You might want clarification since you have 2 of them on that.
right.
Right.
I know.
Not just,
Any other comments or questions? Tim or Diane?
Nope.
We hear you, Diane. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nothing from me.
Okay.
If there's no other discussion, I guess I would make a motion to submit the letter to the journal, letter to the editor.
Sue Hunstead, I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any further discussion? We'll take a roll call. I'll start with the people online. Tim? Those in favor say aye. Tim?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Chad?
Aye.
Deanna?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item. We received a communication from the Park and Recreation Director in response to the letter that we sent regarding the graffiti wall in the surrounding area. And I'd just like to take a time to read into the minutes. Hello, Larry and the Human Rights Commission. Thank you for your letter, interest, and involvement. The Park and Recreation Commission and Department fully agree with you that hateful and inappropriate graffiti cannot be tolerated. The Parks and Rec Department will do everything in our power to remove hateful and inappropriate graffiti at the Art Wall Park and surrounding area within 24 hours of being notified. Again, thank you, Tom C. Schmitz, Director of Parks and Recs. Okay.
Very nice.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to consider and this is an idea that came from outside, that we consider establishing a public relations subcommittee from the Human Rights Commission, which would allow us to get a quicker response out to letters to the editor, where we wouldn't have to call a special meeting of the entire commission. I'm going to check with the city attorney on that just to make sure we're okay with doing that before we head ahead and do that. But I thought if nothing else, the PR committee would we could at least have someone involved with drafting, et cetera.
And then would we still have to vote on everything?
That's what I need to check on. I'm not sure we would have to necessarily. if
I
the
think that
committee-
was the reason that it was brought up, is
Yeah,
that
so we don't have
could
to
respond,
meet.
so we wouldn't
Yeah.
have to
Okay.
meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose the letter would just simply say the New Ulm Human Rights Public Relations Committee. You know, it would just be that.
So that would just be like an ad hoc committee, essentially. That's probably.
Much like the Education and Events Committee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can't be a majority,
Right.
so it's limited to 4. What I was going to recommend is we sort of have like the executive committee and 1 volunteer.
Okay.
So that would mean Dan, you're vice chair, I think, right?
Yep.
Wendy, me, and if we get 1 other volunteer that would be willing to serve on that.
I can do that. This is Tim.
Tim, you willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll check to make sure. I should have checked beforehand with Roger on what the formality of such a thing. I'm not aware of any city civic laws that would prevent us from subdividing, but it's always good to double check.
Yeah. I don't either, but I can double check the bylaws on ad hoc committees. I'm sure there's, yeah, just to make sure we're operating within whatever's already established.
Okay. So, we have any? I'm reluctant to maybe form that officially without knowing that we can do it legally. So what I suggest we'll do is, this is sort of an informative meeting to talk about it. Let's think about that for our next meeting, and we'll officially form it next. That'll give us a chance to check the sources to make sure we're.
Well, couldn't we
Legal.
form it? We just couldn't use that committee to act on anything until it's legal?
Sure.
So
I suppose we could.
Could we do that? That way we don't have to wait for another meeting in order to okay the forming, just,
Correct.
right?
I think so.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm trying to
Look
think
into
of
the lawyer
if
here.
anything that they do, is it, null
Like we would-
or, yeah, I mean, I suppose.
With no action or anything.
You know what I mean?
like
That would be
until it's
formed, and
approved.
then once it's, if you can find out, we don't have to have a meeting to know, we would just find out, yes, we can
Do this.
approve, right? We
Yeah.
wouldn't, that way we can get this going without waiting for a month, is my thought.
Yeah, I mean, if it's possible, I say we, yeah.
Okay. Then would someone like to make that a motion?
I'll make that a motion, Sue Hunstead, I'll make that a motion that we organize a public relations committee consisting of the 4 officers, Larry, Dan, Wendy, and Tim as a volunteer, subject to passing, being okayed by the city attorney.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that. Deanna Fensky.
Any other discussion? All right, those in favor say aye. Tim?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Dan?
I,
Chad?
Aye.
Deanna?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Motion passes. Welcome to the new committee. We also kept on the agenda, if you notice, 10.5 is the welcoming communities. New Ulm Forward. I think we're going to invite someone to come and speak to us in these next couple of meetings. We do have the room. We can't have socially distanced reports and updates from that, if that's appropriate. I told Lisa we would keep them on the agenda to kind of keep that in mind, that we're going to continue to sort of work with them, as a liaison with them. Okay, and then the last item on our business is the discussion of the vetting process, a question came up regarding the city engaging in contracts with people who have been perhaps posting hateful having hateful social media posts, and wondered, should there be some kind of a vetting process within the city of engaging in such a business arrangement with such people. I took that question to the city manager and asked him to check around what if other cities have any vetting what the vetting process was of the city, and he said pretty much it's low bid. And then I asked him, are there any other cities, and he had some connections. He said he was not aware. He sent an email around. He did not get any feedback from other communities that had such a vetting process. I do know that other communities, and civic organizations have a vetting process, but it's mostly they pre-screen for responsibility. Has this company fulfilled its obligations in the past? Do they have high standards for their work and also wages and benefits? Are they perhaps paying their wages, paying their workers, I don't know if we would call it union wage, but certainly competitive wages and benefits. And there's also an incentive to raise wages and benefits above the legal floor, so more than the minimum wage. And then there's a strong post-award enforcement for substandard works, materials, treatment of work sites, stuff like that. So there is a vetting process, but it involves pretty much the contractual work that people are done with. So that's the report I had. So I don't know what you want to do with that. The question is should we explore recommending to the city a vetting process for engaging into contracts. And I do know from my research that Dan, maybe you have more information on social media legally, but using social media checks for employment is kind of a hot issue in the employment world right now. On both sides. So it's a
yeah, it is. It's not. It is one of those things that it's difficult to separate social media posts from things that are protected under like Title VII.
Or First Amendment rights.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking about that too. About it's not just obviously the situation that we were dealing with was a social media post in engaging in like some hateful opinions. But I was also thinking about, well, what about vetting to see, has this company ever been named as a defendant in an employment discrimination lawsuit, or anything like that? To the extent it's public, it's something that maybe is not a bad idea of looking into as well, because that's part of our, of course, mission is, those types of things. That have they been embroiled in any kind of legal issues that go to the heart of
or the
rights.
Fair wage and benefit issues too. That's the
Right.
ones that's kind of struck me as
Or the
possible.
Americans with Disabilities Act, several different things.
That's not in process or in place that you're aware of here in our community?
According to the city manager, who and he's been very helpful with working through all this with the graffiti and the whole thing. So just so you know that, according to he said the only thing he was aware of was the low bid.
Low bid. Okay.
On that. So I don't know if we want to maybe recommend to the city council that, I suppose we could recommend to the city council that they perhaps study this issue and give them a couple things to look at. We don't dictate policy necessarily on that, we just advise. I don't know if we want to explore that or not.
Yeah, I think we should.
Do we want to have a subcommittee, maybe draft some ideas for our next meeting, and then we could just send them on to the city council after our next meeting?
Yeah, we can do that. Otherwise,
that-
I mean, I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Any particular subcommittee, or just have somebody?
How about any interested parties contact me after the meeting, and we'll
All right.
we'll set up a committee of 3 or 4 to look at it.
Okay.
That sounds good. Dan volunteered already, so. Okay. Is that agreeable with everyone?
Yes.
Any input from online?
No,
Nope.
sounds good.
Okay.
It does sound good.
Okay, so be prepared. Probably in the next packet, we'll have the committee will come with a recommendation so that we'll act on that as a possibility. So the only action we need to do is form the committee. I'm not sure we need to vote on that.
I don't think so, no.
Oh.
It's a temporary,
Ad hoc committee
Yeah,
for a
so-
purpose, yeah.
So we don't need a
Okay.
motion. Okay.
I don't think we need a motion on that. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 24th, which there may be a conflict with. We'll check on that and get back to you.
Maybe Tim would know.
Tim, we wondered if there was a conflict with the 24th of August with the welcoming communities.
I have not heard when the next meeting would be, but aren't they usually on Thursdays?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
What I
I
was
thought maybe
thinking, too.
Thursdays, yeah. I'll check with Julie tomorrow.
Okay.
So, any other business that we have to deal with today?
just briefly, Commissioner Against and I have talked a little bit about resuming a social media
Oh, yes.
page. That's something that kind of, after COVID hit, that we kind of stopped talking about. So I think, yeah, I'm going to check and just make sure that he and I can discuss a few things and basically get that back on the agenda and hopefully make some progress. I think it's, right now is a really great time to have that as well.
Goodbye.
What?
Bye. They just said goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Somebody, we had a social media policy draft. Did we ever get that approved?
No,
I think
believe
that's as
it's
far as we got. Yeah. Yeah.
And that has to go to the city council, I think,
I believe so, yes.
right?
Yep.
So that'd be step one, would be, because I was going through my files and I noticed we had social media I was looking for a social media policy in here for our previous thing about the vetting. I thought, well, we have a policy about this.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yes.
interesting because the policy is fairly strict for the employees and people that represent the city, and yet the people that we engage
Contract?
with are not. Yeah, so
Right.
that's kind of an interesting
Hmm.
thing to think about. So maybe resurrect this as well.
Yep. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's part of it. Kind of pick up where we left off a little bit. I think he and I were gonna just review a few things and make sure that that's how we want it presented, and then we were gonna present it. I think is kind of where we ended up, but it's been a while.
We will put that on the agenda for our next meeting. That be
Perfect.
appropriate?
Yes.
Okay. Any other business? Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Deanna Fensky, I'll move to adjourn.
I will second that. Dan Kalk.
All those in favor of adjourning? Mr. Frenning?
Aye.
Diane?
Bye.
Sue?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Chad?
Aye.
Deanna?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, folks. Keep moving.